Hi everyone, today I wanted to talk about late season scouting on corn and really a few things to watch for as we get closer to harvest. Nothing we're going to do about anything now, but really the goal here today is to avoid corn that's going to lodge, having that down corn situation if we do get into some wind events here this fall, and trying to just make that harvest priority list as you maybe have a little bit of time before harvest here. Get out and scout those fields. Make sure you've got those suspect fields that may be struggling with standability issues. Make sure you're aware of those and can get in there and harvest those as early as possible. A couple of reasons we're seeing some standability issues out in the field. Big one this year is going to be that rainfall piece. We had so much rain early in the season. Even if we got those crops in on time, we continued getting pretty timely rains and even too much rain in some cases throughout a lot of May, June, and even into July. So especially on fields where we had all of our nitrogen up front in that pre-plant pass, I think we did lose some nitrogen there. And now that these plants are trying to fill ears, we're really pulling out of those plants, and those plants are pulling just everything they can out of the base of that stalk and causing some issues there with weak stalks as well. On top of that, we followed a lot of these rains for most of the area with some pretty dry conditions here for about the last month or so. We were starting to see some of these leaves fire up with some potassium pretty far up in the plant. Saw that nitrogen deficiency continuing up the plant here over the last 3 and 4 weeks. And some of that's normal as these plants start to dry down, but some of it is because we just didn't have water to move these nutrients into the plant, move these nutrients throughout the plant and things like that. So as these plants are really trying to fill that ear, we're seeing some issues with nutrients due to the conditions that we had throughout the year. So again, pre-plant nitrogen, if you were trying to cut those nitrogen rates a little bit due to prices, make sure you're out there in those fields, making sure that these plants, these stalks aren't going to go down on us if we can avoid that. There's also going to be hybrids that are more susceptible to this. We've got certain hybrids that are more of a die and dry type that are not going to take up a lot of excess nitrogen and dry down really quickly. That also means they're probably going to pull from the stalks quite a bit more than maybe some of our plants that tend to stay green a little bit longer, have that better stay green. So just make sure you're keeping track of that. Another issue we've had is foliar disease. So foliar diseases have come in and in some cases have been getting fairly severe. In most cases, I don't think we're probably going to see grain loss. So tar spot did come into most fields this year. Again, like we have seen in most cases, it was late enough, kind of past that dough stage where we're not probably going to see a lot of grain loss in a lot of cases, but I do think we could see issues with standability where those plants really dried down faster than what they would have in totally natural situations. So just be aware of that where we've got those bad tar spot infections, or if we have gray leaf spot or northern corn leaf blight, we've got some pockets of those as well. Making sure those foliar diseases, as they've caused these plants to dry down a little quicker than what they would have normally, making sure that we don't have issues with standability out in those fields. So a couple of things just to watch out for as we get into the late part of the season here. One thing you can do as you're testing these is going to be that push and pinch test, and I'll show a video here of that push test now. The goal with the push test is really just seeing how strong that stalk is below the ear here. So it's really simple to do. Basically, I go in right kind of at that ear height, push against the stalk, and kind of just push it somewhat aggressively, kind of till that tassel gets into the next row over in that 30-inch row, and just see what happens there. So with this particular hybrid in this field, we're seeing these stalks break off below the ear. They're not at the ground level, so it's definitely signifying that maybe we have some stalk strength issues here, and you would need to split the stalk open, see what's going on there with that, see if it's a disease issue, see if it's just cannibalization throughout the later part of the season here as we've tried to fill these ears. With some of the conditions we've had, we're gonna see some issues here, whether it's from disease, foliar disease, stalk disease, or it could be even some of the nutrient deficiencies that we've seen crop up throughout different parts of the season here. So definitely get out there, do these push tests, see where these stalks are at and make that harvest plan. So the goal here is to make sure this corn doesn't fall over before we can get to harvest. There's probably going to be varieties or fields or the combination of two where you've got weaker situations out there, and you want to make sure we can get out to those fields first. Make sure they don't go over and make harvest difficult, lose yield through that down corn situation, and try to avoid that. So with that, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, highly encourage you to get out there, check those fields. The last thing we want is down corn if we can avoid that at all. And so get out there and happy scouting.